Hey everybody, it is Yo Taylor back here at the Style Table on My Style Mondays. Happy Women's History Month, and my first guest of Women's History Month is Christine A. Harper, and she is a public speaking coach. And she's my public speaking coach, by the way. She's helped me so much, you guys. I went from just terrified.
She's telling the truth.
I was terrified. We have this funny story. I did an event at my house and I was supposed to speak, and I was in front of like friends and family, my people who supported me when I first started my business, and the event was in my own house, and I was just terrified. And then Christine said, "You were so terrified. You're terrified to stand up in front of your own family and friends in your own home." I was like, "Oh my God, listen, this is why you need a coach, man. I love coaches. I love coaches, consultants, therapists. I love you all do so many wonderful things for people, including me."
And
No,
sometimes we just state the obvious. Like somebody has to say it, and that somebody is me.
listen, she keeps it 100, and that's what I need. I need somebody to go.
That's what I do.
Now, Christine, now you're going to give us tips. You're going to tell us about your book, but tell us about your business and what inspired you, and some of your background and how you got started with being a public speaking coach.
Okay. Well, to make a long story short, I really was in corporate in technical sales and management for over 20 years. I retired early and I decided, let me do something that I enjoy. I enjoy working with people and helping them learn their better selves, uncover your better self. Many times I notice people in corporate who could not express themselves well. So I decided to be a public speaking coach, and I got certified through John C. Maxwell. And I've been working with people to help them unlock their better selves.
Well, you certainly helped me. Oh my goodness. My husband's like, "I don't know why you're like all stressed out about public speaking. You talk all the time. You talk to strangers, even."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "And you're all like afraid of speaking and you talk all the time." But having that coach, having someone to give you that courage to get out of your head, it's a lot of it
Yeah,
is psychological. So,
absolutely.
so that's your specialty. I know you run these challenges to help you dig inside of yourself, which is I've done
Mm-hmm.
some of the challenges, you guys. You definitely she
Mm-hmm.
has one coming up and she's going to tell us about that.
Yes, yes. So, a couple of things. Yes, a lot of people just get caught up and stuck in their heads. And when I mentioned the fact that I worked in corporate, there were some people I worked with who were smart. They were technically smart. They knew the products. But when they stood up in front of a group of people, they just turned into what looked like a bumbling idiot. They weren't. I knew they weren't. So I would try to work with them to help them get over that nervousness, get over that fear, and just share what you know. So in working with you, I know that you know how to be a stylist. And so I wondered, well, what is it that's keep talking, keep talking. As a coach, I listen to people, I watch what they do, and then I give them feedback. Now, one of the questions that I often ask people is, are you coachable? Because if you're not open to receiving feedback, you're going to continue to be nervous or continue to do the same silly mistakes that you've been doing. But as a public speaking coach, I just I love it actually because I love hearing the different speeches and different stories that people want to tell and helping them refine the message that they want to get across.
Because it's easy to get lost in the weeds I know
Mhm,
for me, like I did an event in September, and that was probably my second time, really just being up in front of people. And I felt like I was in the zone. I was feeling really good. And then all of a sudden, like I looked out. It was the craziest thing, you guys. I looked out. I went from like, oh, I'm just doing my thing to all of a sudden I started concentrating on the fact that there were people looking at me.
mhm,
And literally everything that I know my business. I know my industry. I know my business.
mhm.
It literally like escaped my mind. It was like I flatlined right there for a moment. And then when you realize you flatline, it's like, how do I get back?
Yes,
You know, so
yes.
so this is where the thing I love about you, Christine, is that you do all of these challenges to help us get in tune with ourselves. And because it was almost like a little imposter syndrome, like
Mhm.
set in like this little, person on them, like, you can't do this, you can't do this. Look, they're staring at you, they're looking at you.
Those of us who can remember, was it Daffy Duck? One of the cartoons when we were younger, the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other shoulder.
Yes.
Mhm. And we just internalize that. But I will tell you, when you internalize the qualities that you have, when you internalize the fact that I am a stylist, I know what I'm talking about, and you just start, you flow with it, you flow with it. But it does take practice, and
Yeah.
it does help if you have a coach to identify those things which we think you're stumbling over. One of the things that I will mention about the challenges, the next challenge that we're doing is a public speaking challenge. All of my challenges have not been directly public speaking challenges because there's more to this than just reading the 10 steps to be a good public speaker. And I think I can do that. Oh, now I'm good. Mm, no, that's just part of it. So
Yeah.
some of the challenges have to do with other areas of self-discovery or of uncovering your better self. The last one that we did, the last one was on forgiveness, and I get so much feedback on the forgiveness challenge because we all have something to forgive, including ourselves. And to me, that is an important part of then being able to step out and do your best you.
Hmm. Well, I did that challenge and it was great. It was perfect timing too, because it was right before the new year.
Hmm.
It was around that time when we're all like saying, I want to be a better person. I want to do things. And it's all about being well rounded. And it's, I think being well rounded and feeling more centered and feeling really good about where you are in your life and what you want. And forgiving is also releasing some of the things from the past that help you feel more confident when you are standing up there speaking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Many of us, when we were in elementary school, or even maybe it was a family event, when you were younger, somebody told you, sit down. They made fun of you, or they told you, sit down, you don't know what you're talking about. Almost everybody can tell a story like that.
Yes.
If that sticks inside your consciousness, every time you stand up, you're going to hear cousin Aunt Mary saying, sit down. Why is she? That girl is always trying to, what is she doing?
Right.
And now you're struggling. Now you're fighting with yourself internally. And we want to let go of that. We want to find a way to release that. And in the forgiveness challenge, that is one way to release some of those internal things that we were holding on to. When you hold on to negativity, it blocks you from being your best self.
Now that is a perfect tip. And you're going to give us I want some more tips about I want some more tips about, um, like, as far as like how you stand, your posture.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like, I'd like to know, how do you focus? How do you what should you focus on? People say, oh, picture people in their underwear. They all have these different tips. What are your tips in terms of, like, if you get to that space where you look and you see people staring at you and then you kind of freeze? What are some tips to help you get out of that panic mode, or not, or prevent the panic mode to start with?
Couple of things. Preventing the panic mode comes from a certain level of preparation. People think, I know what I'm talking about. I have something to tell you. A whole lot of us come with that really strong attitude. Then you stand up in front of a group, and there could be one person, and it's usually only one person in the audience who's looking like, in general, everybody wants to see you succeed. People came there to hear from you. So, in general, they want to see you succeed. They want to learn something from you. So, if you can learn how to put that into your internal self talk, that's a tip. Put that into your internal self talk and keep reminding yourself, they came to hear me. They came to hear me. Well, let me get to talking. Let me get to telling my story the way I prepared it. So, second tip, preparation. Just because you know a thing doesn't mean that you can always get up at a moment's notice and just start teaching a thing. You should be comfortable with the flow that you want, in which you want to share something. Many people will tell you that the best way to convey an idea is through a story. And I do believe that, because when you tell a story, people tend to remember that. So instead of giving them a list of 10 things they should do to help clean out their closet, give them a story about working with someone cleaning out their closet, or someone who did not clean out their closet and what happened after that. And the people are more likely to receive and remember what it is you're trying to convey. So we'll start with those two. Preparation on the flow in which you know what your talk is going to be about, and also your self-talk, positive self-talk.
Positive self-talk. Yeah, because it is, and sometimes that you do probably have that one person's like eye roll.
Mhm,
And even though everybody else is like, really into it and paying attention to you, and then
mhm.
it's easy. I don't know if it's just human nature to focus on that one person that's not giving you the energy that you think you should be getting, and you almost ignore all the other positive energy.
Absolutely. That is unfortunately a natural thing with us people. You look at the negative thing. Well, when your family tells you one thing about the dinner, the wonderful dinner that you just prepared. Oh, I don't like the way these peas taste funny. You will think about those peas for the whole duration of the meal. You're not gonna forget the chicken, forget the fish. The bread was perfect, but you're gonna just keep focusing on those peas.
That's so easy to do. And it's all that also goes hand in hand with perfectionism. If you're a perfectionist, you want it to be perfect. You want everybody to
Mhm,
receive it and feel like it's perfect. And then you focus on the one thing that you did wrong. Um,
mhm.
so that's why, you work with people on the inside as
Yes.
well as the presentation that they are sharing, which
Yes.
is, which is, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
Many people don't realize that they have to do the inside work in addition to doing that list of 10 things to make a great presentation. And I will tell you that, well, I'm just, for some reason, this keeps coming up in my head while we're talking. Once I had to do a presentation, a technical presentation. I was not thoroughly comfortable. I wasn't confident. But I'm doing okay. I'm giving the presentation, and a man in the last row has false teeth. And for some reason, he took that moment while I was speaking to take his teeth out. And I was mortified. I was mortified.
I mean, what message was he trying to send to the speaker?
I don't know. And bottom line is he was uncomfortable, and he was just adjusting his teeth in his mouth, but he took them out, and it just grabbed my attention. I couldn't come back. I couldn't continue, and I think I took a break. And my manager was there, and can you come up and help me? I was mortified. I was mortified. What would I do now? I'd probably laugh to myself and not make a scene of it and not focus on it. But it is so easy to focus on the negative. And these days, with everyone having a cell phone, as soon as you see people start looking down at their phone, wait a minute, hold on, I'm not finished.
Then they're sitting there, playing Candy Crush Saga.
I mean, you don't know what they could be looking at, a news report, right?
Yeah.
Because we think we have to know everything immediately, right now, what's happening in the world. But when you are a public speaker and you are trying to command the attention of a room, the first thing is to have attention inside your head, which is, I'm prepared, I'm self-confident, let's go.
And a part of being prepared is how you show up, what you wear, how you feel, how you present yourself. Because I would argue that when you are dressed comfortably and confidently, where you're polished and you're comfortable and you're confident, that takes away a lot of the barriers, and it's something easy. I kind of think it's easy to do to break through the ice, and it's one less thing you have to think about. And especially if you're an introvert, and even if you're just walking in a room, and if you're an introvert, you walk into a room, man, if you're confident in your clothes, I don't have to worry about that because everything's fitting. And if you're a public speaker, if your clothes fit really well and you're feeling really confident in them, then when you step on stage, you're going to give 100% of the information, as opposed to going, is this lump here? Is this moving here? Is this moving there? And you're self-conscious about everything. Then, that's still in the back of your mind. Even if it's commanding 10%, that's still that 10% that you're worried about could be the thing that would just have you forget what your thought process and your train of thought and what you're trying to deliver. And you don't want that. So how you show up also matters.
It is very important. Working with you has been a big help to me, because I would worry about what I was wearing. Is that skirt too tight? It's usually too tight. And working with you has helped me find outfits, identify some outfits that fit well, that you feel comfortable in. For me, comfortability is the number one thing. Yes, you would like to look beautiful, but if you are uncomfortable, if something is ill-fitting, that's no good.
Yeah, it's easy. I mean, you look beautiful when you're comfortable in your clothes. When you're comfortable, you look beautiful when you're comfortable in your clothes and they fit well. Trying to put on something just because you think this is what people want you to wear. You put on the thing that you want to wear, that you find like, oh, I really love this outfit. Make sure you get it tailored to fit. Make sure that it fits, so you don't have to worry about this slipping here and this slipping out, and this
Mm-hmm.
exploding here, and you don't have to worry about all that. That should not be that should be the least of your worries
Right.
when you
That
step on
that
something.
shouldn't be a worry at all. All of
Exactly.
that also falls under the umbrella of preparation.
Yes.
As a public speaker, you're not only going to prepare your talk, but prepare your appearance. How do you want to show up? Maybe you are doing something that is comedic and you do want to show up looking nerdy.
I had a situation where there was, I went to hear a public address and a speech presentation, and there were two gentlemen, and both gentlemen I knew, and one had on a suit, and one who was actually had more information than the other, and was probably stronger, had on just a vest and a shirt button down.
Mm-hmm.
The questions came to the gentleman in the suit who looked like he knew more,
Mm-hmm.
and less to the gentleman who just had on the sweater vest and the button down. And although I knew that he knew more than the other gentleman, he was strong. He was stronger in the information. So it's all psychological. It's just human nature. We look to people
Yes.
who present themselves as an authority on a topic, So whatever you're talking about, but also, there are also people who can use style as their signature to attract attention and stir interest and go, I really wonder what they have to say as
Mm-hmm.
well. But in this case, it was amazing to watch how the style of dress, how the suit commanded the interest and presented more authority. Are there any other ways that presenters, like how do you stand? How would you tell someone to stand? Because now everybody's moving around. People aren't just parked behind a podium.
So this is an interesting point. This is an interesting conversation topic for me because, as you know, I suffered a stroke about 10 years ago, and I do not run around the stage from side to side because I have fear of tripping. My balance is not always so good. So when you give somebody advice on how to stand, once again, I go back to, where's your confidence level? What are you comfortable doing? If you are comfortable taking 2 steps to the left and using hand gestures, do so. If you are holding on to that podium, like, for dear life, okay, you can do that the first time, but don't do it again. And we will find ways during the coaching process to help you release any stance or posture that's difficult for you. So I can't give you one good way. How do you stand? You stand up. You stand up and allow yourself to breathe. You don't want to come in looking hunched over, slumped down, trying to hide. You're not trying to hide.
Right.
You came to give an address about something,
Yeah.
and you want to show up and stand out.
So what you're saying is, when you work with people, you help them, because everybody has their own style as far as presenting, and you help them work within themselves to find their individual way, because everybody has their kind of like, habits. Now,
Yes.
some are good, but some people have their habits. Some people talk with their hands. I talk with my hands.
Mm-hmm.
That for me is comfortable, and it's what I do. But there are a lot of people who stand with their arms to their side.
Mm-hmm.
What tip would you give somebody who's like, okay, I'm nervous and they don't know what to do with their hands? What would you suggest?
Well, number one, I would suggest do not put them in your pockets. I would say that. But I don't want to give a prescription for the wrong ailment.
Mm.
And that's why I want to be clear about working with a public speaking coach that is good. The coach will watch you and help identify those things that you can do to improve. If you are nervous and you're standing still like a soldier, we're going to change that bit by bit. I can't say take 3 steps to the left, 3 steps to the right, turn around, cha cha slide. It's not going to work. We have to do something that is comfortable, in a range of comfortability for you, the professional who wants to improve their public speaking. Now, let's go back to that first question I asked. Are you coachable? There are some people who do not receive feedback very well.
Yeah.
And they are not going to try based on what you say, based on what the coach says. In those incidences, I use videos to work with people and show them exactly. We're going to replay the video. Okay, did you like that? What you just did there? And they will identify for themselves. Oh, yeah, now I see what you're talking about. You know, when you first told me that, I thought she's crazy. But in looking at video replays, and people look at themselves, and you as a coach point out, here's what we can do a little differently. That usually helps. That usually helps.
Now I'm going to ask you, do you have any funny style stories of when you were, when you were maybe doing your own
presentations?
Yeah.
Well, I can of course recount the "is this skirt too tight" story, but I do remember specifically this one. I should have known better. I bought this linen dress. I thought it was so cute. It was on sale. Things don't go on sale for no reason, people. I'm just telling you that. I bought this linen dress and I wore it to a public speaking event. And when I looked at the pictures, I was so embarrassed because I just had these smile lines across my hips from sitting in that linen. I was used to what is it called? Washable linen.
Yes.
I was used to washable linen fabrics, but this was not that. This was the old school linen that you need to steam and just hold up still. So that was pretty embarrassing. And I never wore that dress to that type of event again.
So
you live and learn.
Yeah, you live and you learn and you get better. And that's what the whole thing is about. And that's why you hire coaches and you have a support, you build yourself a team, especially when you're in growth mode or trying to scale your business or get that promotion, build your organization, whatever you're doing. Now, I do want to know, you have a challenge coming up.
Yes. In 1 week, actually, on March 13th, we are starting a 5-day challenge. This challenge is focused on public speaking and your introduction.
Ooh.
Many years ago, you may have heard people say, oh, you have to learn your elevator pitch. So this has some similarities to that. Your introduction, as you go places and you meet groups of women and you want to, of course, chat with them potentially about becoming clients of yours, there are certain things I think you need to say. There's a certain way you need to approach them so that in those first couple of minutes of introduction, it catches. You catch their attention because now this is old school also. How many business cards? We used to buy business cards in box of 500 or 1,000. And how many of them translated into real business?
Mm.
I think the percentage used to be 1 in 10 or something. 1 in 10 would call you back, and then out of 10, you could maybe get one client. It was a pretty small percentage. I submit that as a public speaker, you should be able to engage in a conversation with someone during your introduction that will help you to turn that into a relationship. In this next challenge, we are going to focus on that. So, in 5 days, each day you'll get an assignment and it'll be sent through email, an assignment and something to do that day. And at the end of the day, you'll receive a tip, a public speaking tip. If you complete all 5 assignments, you will be eligible to have a private session with a Powerhouse Motivations coach that will help you work on whatever area you are trying to strategically improve in your public speaking. So that's the challenge.
That's a great challenge. And what a treat if you complete the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably sign up. Sign up. So because they're so good and I always get something from it. And I always I'm finding myself in my self-esteem, and when it comes to being in front of people talking in a group or
Mm-hmm.
even on these videos, I can even see my interviews growing. And I'm just being really real. I love my Style Mondays because this is a place where we're just being real and we're being authentic, and I love it. So honestly, I can see my growth and I'm really proud.
I can too.
I
Yes.
can see, and I'm very proud, and I've got a lot more to do, and I'm up to the challenge, and I'm ready to keep learning and keep improving. And with coaches like my coach Christine, I can't wait to see what everything looks like as I progress at the end of the rainbow. So, but Christine is going to, you guys, let us know how to sign up for the challenge. She's also a co-author in Women Who Boss Up book series.
My book was the second book in the series, Women Who Boss Up, Women Who Are Owning Their Health and Wellness for a Lifestyle They Love. It's really a good, my story is in here. Part of my story is in here. But honestly, the other women in the book, I formed a nice bond with them, and it was just, this was a good experience to co-author and share stories about how issues in your life caused you to make some changes. Mm-hmm. Each one of us has had some issue come up and you needed to make some changes.
Yeah.
Some of us do it more smoothly than others, but this is a nice inspirational type of read. And I would encourage anyone who's interested in getting a copy of this, please get it from me on my website, christineaharper.com. You can also sign up for the challenge at the website. Again, it's www.christineaharper.com. And I would love to see you participate in the challenge. Let me add one other thing about the challenge that's coming up. This challenge about the introduction is really part of one of our courses called the Aspiring Speakers Program. Okay. But I wanted to give people a taste of what this is like, a taste of the course. And eventually we're going to be segmenting the course so that you can just purchase the introduction, the closing, telling stories. But we're going to start with the introduction. And I would very much welcome anyone from your audience to participate in this, because when you're on the front end of a challenge and you accomplish something, you feel so proud and so much better about yourself. You are really helping yourself to unfold and as I like to say, find your better self. So I
And
welcome your audience, the
well,
At the Style Table audience, to join me.
and you guys, she's going to drop all of her information right in the comments.
Yeah.
And so you can connect with Christine, buy her book, go right to her website. It has everything that you need. And you guys know where you can find me at thestyletable.com. You can see me I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. You can see My Style Mondays every Monday at 7 p.m. We stream live to at the Style Table page and YouTube. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. And you can see Christine and many other fabulous women and a few men talk about their business, their organizations, whatever they're doing, their passions, and their style, and how style affects them in their business and how they can help you. So see you next week on My Style Mondays. See you next Monday.
This
Bye.
went so fast.
I know.
Thank you. Thank you. I really enjoyed this.
Time we will see you, Miss Christine.
Okay. We'll do this again.
Bye, you guys.
Bye-bye.